Yeah.
We
So
go.
as I was saying, you know, one thing around that time, I'm gonna go back to '89 for a minute. All of us, me, Bo, Big Trev, T Mac, Showbiz, AG, Law Finesse. Fat Joe was down. Fat Joe was an ally of us. Fat Joe was a major hustler and stick up kid. And I don't know how many people know that, but Fat Joe was down with us. You know, him being from Trinity Ave. You know, he was one of Bill got into beef. Bill could call him up, and there was times when we got into beef at that castle. You know, but we didn't get beef in the castle. As soon as it ended, whatever crew that was there that we had beef with in that block, 138th Street, all you heard was boom, boom, gunshots. Gunshots. And as a matter of fact, that's where Slick Rick rolled up into to the castle one night. And when it was over, him and his girl hopped in his Jeep. And Iron Mike and B.O. went to stick him up. Went to stick up Slick Rick. You couldn't just come into the castle, without announcing or getting our permission. You know, when Kane came, he got our permission. And Mitch, the owner, would let them know this is Zulu Nation's spot. They run this. I'm gonna let you know this. You know, so if you're not cool with them, maybe you shouldn't do this show or whatever the case may be. But that's where they shot up Slick Rick's Jeep, and the girl got shot. That was Iron Mike and Bo. But we ran that club. That club we would come out of there like 4 o'clock in the morning. Then we would go to Olympic on the Grand Concourse on 149th E. You know, by the time we get home or bounce from home, it's 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Me and Big Trab, we hop in the joint. We uptown, you know. It was times when we brought females. Like I said, we had it wasn't too many times we left the castle when we didn't have females. You know, the thing was where we was gonna go. You know, because we had wives at home. You know, we would go to a hotel or one night went to my spot. He said, "Well, Reef, let's go to your spot." Up at Either Wall. It was me, B.O., and Muhammad. Muhammad was not a part of the inner circle. He was on the Shaka side with Saladin. Saladin was on the Shaka side. You know, me and Big Trev was a part of that inner circle. That inner circle was GF. You know, B.O.'s personal crew, Joe Kidd, Sugar Ray, Born Justice, Cisco, Black. You know, that was his in the crew. And his T Mac, Showbiz, Jordan. He's called his brother Calvin Jordan because he had the bald head and all, everything looked like Michael Jordan. You know, that's the crew right there. But Muhammad was never part of that crew. You know, of course, Lord Tafik was young. Lord Tafik and his brother, as you know, they was under Bam, and Bam was doing his thing with them the same way he was with Poppy, because they was young, 14,
Crazy.
13, 14 years old. As a matter of fact, I later walked in, and I said this when I did that document with, what's her name?
Interview.
Y'all know if I
With
remember her name.
Layla Wills.
From Chicago.
Layla
Wills, exactly. Yeah, I did a joint with her. It's called, you go on YouTube, it's Lord Shariyf something, but it'll come up. You know, and I also did a joint with Sonetta. Yeah, I did a joint with Sonetta on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, and with Star, exactly. TC, my brother TC Islam, he did one with Star. It was TC that got me to do it, because TC did the one with Star first. And TC said to me, "Yo, Reef, come on, you need to, tell your story." So TC, y'all all know TC, man. I loved him like a brother. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
it was alleged that Muhammad has something to do with his death because Muhammad was down with Muhammad's man. That was Muhammad's man in Atlanta. That was running with TC. And I told TC, don't go to Atlanta. Come here to Charlotte, North Carolina with me. But he chose to go to Atlanta and was doing what, getting high and got caught off guard. And I talked to him that Monday. And he told me, Reef, if Bam don't give me my money, I'm going to tell everything about him. I said, yo, TC, you need to leave that. You need to leave that alone. But that Friday, TC was dead. And like I said, it was a fact that Muhammad's man was in Atlanta. I believe it was Muhammad's man. That Bam gave the order, and Muhammad put it through to his man in Atlanta. But going back to that night, it was me, B.O., Muhammad. We're in the crib with these females. Muhammad was never in that inner circle. And B.O. really didn't have love for Muhammad or Saladin. I had love for Saladin and Muhammad. I remember when they didn't have nothing. Nothing. I would take money out of my pocket. Me and my partner D, we was doing our thing. And that's when I said, well, come on, Saladin, come on, get down with us and make some money. And they was from Crotona Avenue, off of Boston Road. They was from that area. But it was times when we left the castle, and I would bring B.O. B.O. would leave with a girl. If I didn't have a girl, then I would say, okay, well, I'm going to drop you off at a hotel. But O would never take his joint with him. And that's how O got caught out there. Because he didn't want to go back to prison. But when you as notorious as a person as B.O. was and is at that time, you can't be caught without your joint. Because he had too many enemies. Pistol Pete claimed he had B.O. killed on the strength that B.O.'s name was too big. That his name was bigger than Pistol Pete's. Because we had girls in Soundview. We had girls on Lafayette. We had girls in Monroe. We had girls in Bronx River. Matter of fact, I was messing with Iron Mike's baby's mama. We in office one night in Bronx River. I meet her. She takes me home, And next thing she said, yeah, you look like Mike. So what are you talking about? I'm thinking she's talking about Crazy Mike. From the old school, Bronx River.
Yeah, I know.
Iron Mike.
Rest in peace, Crazy Mike.
No, Crazy Mike. Yeah, the original Crazy Mike. He was no joke. As a matter of fact, when I was telling you about my homeboy Blue, when they had him up in the bathroom, it was Crazy Mike that wanted to kill him. So I had to talk down Crazy Mike to let Blue go. But Crazy Mike wasn't no joke. And but at that time, the castle became so notorious for shootouts that it got closed down. And the next spot that we started congregating at was a spot called Harold's in Parkchester, a bar. A little small bar, but that became the spot. So B.O. and the crew, we roll up in there, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. There were times I would go pick B.O. up. B.O. was working in the hospital at that time. Like a old age retirement home at that time. Doing maintenance or something like that. I would go pick him up about 12. He got up for 12. He did like for the 12 shift. I pick him up. I would leave the castle, run down to 98th Street, pick up B.O., and we come back into the castle. Whole crew was there. All the crews was there. But eventually the castle got shut down. And Harold's became the spot in Parkchester. On a Thursday night, everybody was coming. Everybody was coming out, You had the little different crews up in there, Uptown crew would be in there, from Boston Road. So I had people from Boston Road and Edenwall in there, people from Bronx River in there. Our crew, B.O. and us in there. One night, Muhammad rode with us to that spot. One of the few times, Muhammad would come. Saladin wasn't there that night, but it was a few of us, and I don't think it was that night that was beef. That night ended peacefully. But it was one night. It was me and Big Trev. And I think Bill was there too. And Big Trev, that same cat I told you about, name was Todd from Edenwall when they was having beef over Big Trev's wife. Todd used to mess with her. And Trev had beef with not only Todd, but his brother named Kobe. And Kobe was supposed to be notorious out of Edenwall. So me and Big Trev caught them in Harrow's. We strapped. We don't know if they strapped, but we ready to dead these niggas on site. But we in Harrow's, people was there. These niggas was shook. These niggas was shook. But there was another night, Todd was there by himself. And Trev said, fuck this, Shariyf, I'm doing this nigga. But see, the thing about it was Todd was my baby's mother, sister's man. So he was kind of like family. That's how I met Big Trev, through Todd. So we outside Harrow's. Trev is ready to murder this nigga, and B.O. walks up, he comes out. Todd knows B.O. from up north, and Todd starts playing to B.O. Me and you cool, can you tell Trev to chill? O said, listen, these are my people. Whatever they want to do, that's on them. I ain't got nothing to do with it. So that was B.O. pretty much giving Trev the pass to go ahead. I said, yo, Trev, I stopped it. I saved this nigga. I said, listen, Trev, I'm not going to let you do this. Because he's like family. And only reason Big Trev backed down, because Big Trev was my partner. Even though he had love for B.O. and they got tight, remember, I'm the one that brought Big Trev into the family. So he was my partner. Wherever I went, Big Trev went. If we went to Manhattan, I don't think it was, as a matter of fact, it was a tunnel. Band played the tunnel one night. And Wolf and his crew from uptown in the valley, around Edenwall. I don't know if y'all remember Wolf, God bless him. He used to be Puff's bodyguard. Yes. They caught a case back in, Wolf caught a case, they caught a case, gun charges, back in the early 2000s. And him and Wolf, but Wolf was notorious. Even his brother, little Wolf. And they was from uptown, And they used to, matter of fact, they used to be in Mount Vernon, too. I used to see him in Mount Vernon, because I used to be in Mount Vernon. I met this girl in Mount Vernon. And Mount Vernon was from where the Young Guns was from. And they was notorious, that crew, the Young Guns. And I was going into the project where the Young Guns had locked down. But of course I was going up in there strapped. As a matter of fact, I met this girl at Harrow's. And she took me home from Harrow's one night. And she lived on a corner where her baby's father and his crew hustled. They had that corner locked down. And I'm going in. One way in and one way out. And they looking at me, and I'm looking at them, and they're looking at her. Okay, like, I guess they gave her that respect. But I said to myself, if these niggas come upstairs and they come through that door, I'm just going to start blasting. And I'm going out the window. I might got to jump. It's like a 10 feet drop. I might have to jump, but that's how it's going on. That's what's on my mind. But nothing went down. They stayed. To the break of day. They was out there. I stayed to that morning, bounced, and it was cool. But Big Trev was my partner, and him and Bill became real tight, like brothers. We was all like brothers. Me, Bill, Big Trev. Like I said, I never really clicked with Sugar Ray. I had love for Muhammad. I had definitely had love for Saladin. Definitely had love for Saladin. Saladin is the only one that I ever seen who stood up to B.O. Because we did a gig one night at this spot, Ernest's Gym on the east side, 3rd Avenue in Manhattan. That was the night that Wu-Tang came up into the spot with about 30 cats, and that's why Wu-Tang talked shit about Zulu Nation on one of their tracks. Because we told them, no, you're not coming up in here with no 20-something cats. And also, Big Marquis also tried the same thing. He came up in there one night with a whole crew of 20-something cats, saying, no, you're not coming in here like this. Somebody's going to have to pay or nobody's coming in. They didn't want to pay, But we had a reputation, the whole Zulu Nation. At that time, that's when we got the contract for Ice-T. B.O. became Ice-T's personal bodyguard. Anytime Ice-T came to New York, through Mick Benzo was his manager. First thing he do is call B.O. Where you at, Ice? Matter of fact, I said at that time, Ice-T had that beef with LL. They called LL in the hotel one night in Manhattan. They was doing some type of affair, and Ice-T wanted to dead him. Bam saved him. Bam saved LL. Said no, can't. It's not gonna happen. Bam, got him out of that jam. But that night in Bronx River was me, Mickey, Ahmed, Bam, B.O., and we was in Ahmed's apartment. That's when Ahmed was living with Bam. And Ahmed was one of Bam's early boy toys. His early boy toys. I knew Ahmed. I went to junior high school with Ahmed too, Billy Henderson. And it stemmed, B.O.'s and Saladin's beef stemmed from, I don't know what made B.O. try to move like that, but he told me and Saladin that y'all can't come strapped into our joints anymore because y'all too wild. Y'all buck wild. I'm looking at him like, we buck wild? But he said, so I'm unarming y'all. So I went to Bam. I said, you know what? You need to go see Bam because you're not unarming me. And Bam's going to tell you why, which you already know. Bam told him, you can't unarm Shariyf. Shariyf is my personal bodyguard, which I was. We sat down at the meeting in 1989 and made B.O. head of Shaka Zulu. That's where I became Bam's personal bodyguard. When Bam went, I went for the most part, And in Bronx River that night, B.O. and Saladin got into an argument over something. And Saladin said, I'm tired of this shit. And stood in B.O.'s face and said, I will bust your ass right here, right now. Of course, me having love for both of them, you know, got in between them, pushed them back, said, listen, you know, come on, let's go upstairs to Ahmed's. And some of the brothers stayed downstairs with Saladin. We up in the apartment. I never had love for Mick Benzo neither. Never had love for him. To me, he was always a snake. And that's when he told B.O., you need to murder this nigga. That's what Mick said to B.O., murder Saladin. I said, you know what? That's not going to happen because we'll all be some dead motherfuckers up in here tonight. I told all of them that, So I went back downstairs, chill with Saladin for a while, and he bounced. That's how that night ended, So Bill didn't have love for Muhammad or Saladin. Muhammad was locked up at the time, and very seldom when the brother get locked up, are you corresponding with him, and that's what I was doing with Muhammad. I stayed in contact with him because I had love for Muhammad, I had love for Muhammad, so we stayed in contact, if he needed something to read, I sent him something to read. When he came home, he got on B.O.'s tip. I told him, your brother got beef with B.O. They're not, they cool, but it's a little, tension there, because he was on B.O.'s like I said, B.O. didn't have love for him, but B.O. would use him. If B.O. needed him to do something, B.O. would definitely use Muhammad, But like I said, going back to when Saladin got knocked in April of '89 for us making all those moves sticking up in Manhattan, I got knocked in October of '91. Matter of fact, excuse me, that was '91. Saladin he got knocked in April. I got knocked in October '91. Where I made my mistake at is I didn't get caught at doing the act of sticking up. I went back uptown, go check out my partner. Big Trev was a barber, and I'm waiting for him to get off 10 o'clock. And Big Trev's wife, because Big Trev had all these girls, he was with his girl in the barbershop who became a baby mother. His wife calls up the police and says that they keep guns in the barbershop. So it was because of her that I got knocked. But she did tell me, one night I was at Big Trev's, and she prophesied. She said, she looked at me, she said, Shariyf, you and Trev's name is ringing in the streets too much. Your names is ringing too much in the streets. Y'all either going to end up dead or in prison. I ended up in prison. Big Trev ended up dead. When I got knocked in '91, that night, I'm waiting on Trev in the barbershop. I'm strapped, and I got cash and credit cards in my pocket from my stick-ups earlier that day. And Big Trev told me, wait, my girl know how to work them credit cards. I said, okay, so I'll wait. Remember, his wife called the police. When we closed the shop, because they didn't have no warrant, they couldn't come inside the barber shop. We're on 241st Street, White Plains Road, Jamaican Turf, right before you go into Mount Vernon. We come out the barber shop. The police, 7 cars, about 12 police. They got the whole barber shop surrounded. I pull out my joint. I go for my joint because I was not trying to go to jail, back to jail. As I reached for my joint, one of them bust me on the nose, and they all came down from me and just grabbed me, cuffed me up. Trev wasn't strapped, thank God. So, but he seen me get locked up. I had charges in the Bronx, gun charge in the Bronx, and I had the gun charge. I had armed robberies in Manhattan because that they pulled the cards out, called the man up. The man told me where he got stuck up, where I called him at, and all that. So I'm in Supreme Court in the Bronx. I'm in Supreme Court in Manhattan. My first offer in Manhattan was a 5 to 15. I looked at the judge. I said, I don't think so. I said, I got a case in the Bronx. So, okay, well, who's your judge up in the Bronx? I told him who the judge was. I said, okay, when you come back, we're going to see what we can do. So I went back. They offered me the 4 to 12 concurrent. So I said, okay, I hopped on it. It was the same bit as Saladine's, 4 to 12. The only difference is Saladin did 10 because he kept wilding while he was doing his bid. You know, on the 4 to 12, you can only do 10 and come home on a conditional discharge. So he did the 10. I made my first board at 4 to 12. So, you know, I'm up north and I come down to Arthur Kill in Staten Island. And I'm happy I'm home. I still got about maybe 8 months to go before I get out. But I'm in the city, you know. So I'm here. I'm listening to Hot 97, Funk Master Flash, and all that, you know. And I hear Funk Master Flash say condolences to B.O.'s family. So I say, well, wonder who passed in B.O.'s family. Let me call up the house. So I call the house, and T answers the phone. T Mac. So I said, what's going on, T? He said, yo, Reef, B.O. is dead. And my heart dropped. I literally went to a state of shock because I'm ready to come home and I'm looking forward to seeing my brothers. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing them, you know. And the first thing I asked after that, because when I went up north, I said, Trev, you got to be B.O.'s bodyguard. I appointed Big Trev as B.O.'s bodyguard. The first thing I asked T-Mac was, well, where's Big Trev? He said, oh, Shariyf, Trev got murdered a week ago. I just hung up the phone. I mean, I was just out of it. I mean, I probably was never so hurt as I was when that happened, when those two brothers left me. You know, it didn't make no sense to me. I couldn't add it up, you know. And I came home. When I came home, I had a lot of anger because B.O.'s death still was not solved. You know, so I go to T-Mac, you know, I go to Muhammad, and I'm asking, why in the fuck is not B.O.'s death avenged by now? What the fuck are y'all doing? You know? I said, I'm taking over Shaka Zulu. And at that time, Bobby, I don't know if y'all remember Bobby, God bless him.
Mm-hmm.
But Bobby wasn't there when Bobby, Scott, Yaya, God bless him, Power, none of them was there before I did my bid, before I went to prison, you know. They may have been down with Zulu, but they wasn't in the circle, you know. But when I came home, Bill had made him a lieutenant. But when we started Shaka, not only was I a co-founder, but I was B.O.'s first lieutenant. Saladin was his second lieutenant. You know? And that there had so much anger in me that I said, you know, I don't want to hear shit about anybody claiming to run Shaka. Because I'm going to take this shit over for the simple fact that my brother got murdered and y'all have not done shit. You know, T-Mac was having beef with Sugar Ray because he felt Sugar Ray should have done something by now. You know, the rumor was that Showbiz was behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I remember hearing that
Showbiz
rumor.
was running with Pistol Pete and some kid named Tone. Because I was hearing stuff when I was still locked up. Who was involved? May have been involved. This cat named Tone's name came up. But the fact that Showbiz was with B.O. when B.O. got murdered was enough for us. You know? So I went to T Mac and I said, does your man Showbiz have something to do with it? He said, no, Reef. This is B.O.'s brother now. The Showbiz didn't have nothing to do with it. But we was downtown one night in some club and Showbiz was in there. And I was with Powell. Matter of fact, we took a picture that night. It was me, Lord Tafiq, my man Malky, quite a few of us. And we caught Showbiz. And he was shook. He said, yo, Reef, I swear I didn't have nothing to do with that. And they're looking at me. I'm looking at them, the crew, and they saying, yo, Reef, what you want to do? They was ready to death the nigga right there on the spot in the club. I said, you know what? I can't have innocent blood on my hands. I said, we don't know for sure. I said, I don't know for sure that this man has something to do with it. And that's the only reason that we let Showbiz go. You know, Poppy caught him on the block with T-Mac coming through the block to see T-Mac. And T-Mac had to hold Poppy. Because Poppy was going to run up on him and snuff him. You know? But Showbiz, you know, he got a pass. He definitely got a pass. I was really never the same once B.O. and Trevor died. You know, I got their picture on my shrine to this day. Because those were my brothers. You know, and I was never the same. Things just wasn't the same. You know. At that time, when I came home, Muhammad and them was running a strip club, one of the hottest strip clubs in New York, called Medallions, down on Times Square, right across the street from the Greyhound bus station. They had the security contract. So we would roll up in there, you know. Saladin would be there, Muhammad would be there, Big F, Muhammad's brother. Yeah, no Big F?
Yeah, of course.
Ephraim.
Yep.
They called him Big F. Big F was never in his circle. He tried to impose that type of image. But it was one time, me and Big F was messing with the same girl, and Big Trev said, fuck this shit. I'm going to murder that nigga, Shariyf. I said, no, Trev. That's how Trev was, you know. I said, no, Trev, not over no female, man. You know, not over no female. You know, but that was the same girl that I was messing with, I told you about earlier, in Mount Vernon, that we met at Harold's. Because as a matter of fact, Big F was at Harold's that night. I met her, and she took both of our numbers. As a matter of fact, it was Muhammad that told me. You know, Muhammad called me one night, and he said, yeah, but if you know that girl that y'all met at Harold's, F is messing with her too. I said, oh yeah? Okay, well, you know, that's the type of chick she was, you know. But I didn't stress over it, you know. I did what I did, you know. She was hitting me off with money, so I wasn't, you know. So I just strung along. You know, you want to do your thing, you want to play your game. That's all good, you know. That's all good, but they ran that club down there, that strip club Medallions, for a while. That was their thing, strip clubs. They had one up in the Bronx on Gun Hill Road. A stripper in there. I can't remember her name, but she was down with the Zulu Nation. She was a queen, you know. And I would go down to that spot. Matter of fact, I met her at one of the anniversaries, We did an anniversary at that school on 126 in Harlem, right across the street from the mosque, in the same block as the mosque. We did the anniversary there one night. That's where I met her. And as a matter of fact, I went to that strip club one night, waited for her to get off. She got up about 3 in the morning, went all the way out to Queens, went home with her, you know. But yeah, well, I could not make that nothing solid with no stripper. So that little relationship went its course, you know. But that was their thing at that time, you know. And
Can I ask you, King? Not to break your wisdom. Um, Earlier you had mentioned Mick Benzo. When I was younger and I was on Shaka Zulu duty, it was probably the year 2001, 2002. He tried to get past my post, and I was like, "Yo, chill." They said nobody but Tafik and Bam could get through this door, and they counting the money for the Zulu anniversary, right? He said, "I don't give a fuck who said whatever. I'm coming through that door." I said, "No, you're not." And I said, "All respect due to the brothers that ran with BO," and that triggered him. He was like, "BO was under me. I trained BO. I
are
never
you
never seen
serious?
the brother before." Yeah, wallahi. I never seen the brother
Oh
before.
man,
So I'm taking
you
his
threw
word to
me,
be bond.
you threw me that. No,
I'm taking it,
hell
I'm
no.
taking his word to
He
be
tr-
bond. And thank you for clearing that up. I just wanted to know if that was precise
no,
or not.
no, man. That's a joke, man. That's a joke. Yeah, that's a joke. What he
And I
did
have another.
was
Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
what
Go
he
ahead, King.
did.
Caught
Remember, I
us up.
told you, Bo got the contract to be Ice T's security through Mick because Mick was his manager. That's the only fucking thing that Mick Benzo did. Mick Benzo is a liar, a shyster, bullshit, and throughout these years, I'm surprised that somebody really didn't bust his ass because me and him came close. He tried some bullshit with me. I told him, you better the best thing you can do, get the fuck out of my face. And that's the last time I saw Mick, and that's the last thing I said to him. But he was that type of person, and if he could think he could throw some weight with you, he would.
You know what they saying now
But
too?
what was your
They
next question?
saying that they saying now that Mick Benzo was a co-founder of the Zulu Nation. And in the 27 years that I've been a part of the organization, I ain't never heard him to be the founder or a co-founder of the Zulu Nation, right? He's not one of the five Nubian men, right? He's not Ace Aziz Jackson. He's not Kusa Stokes. He's not Zambulu Lanier. He's not Ahmed Henderson. He's not Africa Bambaataa. So I don't know where people are calling Mick Benzo the co-founder of the Universal Zulu Nation. Did you ever hear anything of that nature? Not to discredit Mick Benzo. I don't got no beef with him, but I want the truth and I stand on truth.
Yeah, I've never heard that. The only thing about Mick is he's from Bronx River, so he
Hmm.
was there with them. But he's definitely not no co-founder of the Zulu Nation because, like I said, you got to remember we was first the Bronx River organization. What about that? If you was a
Hmm.
co-founder of the Zulu Nation, then you would have to been a founder of the Bronx organization. I didn't see you at Bronx River when we started the Bronx organization, and then from the Bronx River organization, it went to the Bronx organization before it became the Zulu Nation. And when it became the Zulu Nation, I never remember seeing you. I never remember seeing Mick Benzo until we did that council up at Jazzy Studio in '89.
Mm,
Like I said, Mick ran with
mm.
LG and Sugar Ray. For him to say he trained BO, that's a damn lie. Straight out lie.
Yeah,
Trained
and I don't
BO.
like
No,
being
you
lied to.
trained BO. No, you
Yeah.
that's definitely not true. That is
Yeah,
definitely not
yeah.
true, man. You know?
No, I'm sorry.
some of these trainings that when you were active with
Speak up,
Shaka.
P.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Nah, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at
I
all.
can hear you, but it's
Same.
light.
All right. What was that training supposed to consist of? I know Tafiq had a certain training regiment. Even Breeze had a certain regiment to a degree. But when you were active with Shaka, was there training? And if so, what did that consist
Oh
of?
yeah, definitely, definitely. Certain brothers like Taboo, you know the homeboy
Hmm.
Taboo
Of
Yeah.
course.
Absolutely. Yep.
from uh the homeboy. I have much love for Taboo, man. Much love to him, man. He was from the east side of Harlem. Them projects, I can't remember the name of the projects now, but it's Second Ave, right off
Hmm.
123rd. That's what Taboo was from. And Taboo was in the arts. He was one of the brothers that was in the arts. Um, Lord Tafik was in the arts.
All right.
Um,
Right. He trained all of us.
Quite a few
Tafik trained
brothers
all of
was in the
us.
arts. Right, right. What was this other brother's name? I can't remember. It'll come to me. But we would meet out in the park where they built the new Yankee Stadium. Before that, before they built the new Yankee Stadium, that was a park. It was a track. And we would meet out there every Saturday morning. Bo, the original Shaka. You know, me, Bo, Sugar Ray, um, whoever else was down with us at that time. Like I said, Tafiq was young, so he was
Hmm.
like a little brother. He would tag along with Bam here and there, but not with us. But we would be out there doing calisthenics, push-ups, jumping jacks, um, running the track, and stuff like that. You know, um, by the time I got knocked, the training was progressing around that time, around 90, 91, because we were bringing in more shockers. So the training got more intense, you know. And by the time I came home and Bill had passed, you know, that's when I made the noise about the leadership, you know. That's when Bobby didn't know me. And Bobby went to iGod from Webster Projects and who this cat Lord Shariyf is trying to take over Shaka Zulu, man. We need to make a move. And that's when they went to T Mac. T Mac told him, oh no, that's not gonna happen. That's BO's man. He's a co-founder of Shaka Zulu, you know? So that's when me and Bam and Lord Tafiq sat down. And Bam said, like I said, I didn't know Scott. I didn't know Bobby. And Bam said, Sharif, let's make Lord Tafik supreme captain because they know him. And we'll make you assistant supreme captain of Shaka Zulu. And that's how it happened. So all the Shakas that was there at that time, Power, Yaya, they all got behind us, you know. But Tafik, he was skilled in martial arts, but he was not a real effective leader as security. I was the force behind him. You know, I had to really guide him, you know, and that's how me and Tafik developed that bond. You know, you know, I took the place of BO in his life, BO
Mm.
and Big Trev, because he knew how they were. He knew how notorious GF and Shaka Zulu was. And he knew that I was the founder. He knew I was a part of that inner circle. So when I came home, he opened arms to me. Bam opened arms to me, you know, and we started running Shaka Zulu. Like I said, Muhammad and them was doing their own thing, the strip clubs downtown. But we ran the security when we had the anniversaries. Me and Lord Tafik, we ran the security. We had our Shaka. We ran the security. We was going to the ciphers, to the meetings. You know, for the most part, he went. I didn't go a lot. You know, because of certain things that was going on. You know, I became a little distant. But by the time Lord Tafik kept caught that case, I was there with him. I was in court. Me and my wife was in court with him, and he beat both charges. And that's when he came home. When I told him, I said, "Listen, man, I don't think you should stay with your mothers because they can run up in there. I don't think they're gonna let this go, being that you shot up some of their people." And I said, "Come over to me." I was in Webster Projects on 169th, in an apartment in a 1 bedroom. So he stepped in the living room. He came over with me. He probably was there with me at least 2 years. I left New York in 2001. In September of 2001, I left New York and I went to Maryland. I got into a relationship with this girl down in Maryland, in Rockville, you know. So I stayed down there. I got comfortable down there. My family was down there. As a matter of fact, when I had came home in October '95, my mother had cancer. And after doing 4 years, I only saw my mother 2 times between October and January. And she passed that January. So my family was still in Maryland. My sisters was in Maryland. My younger brother was in Maryland, you know. And I had cousins in Maryland. So I went down there. Not after, I stayed with this girl, you know. Me and her didn't work out. And I had a job down there. And I got into child care, counseling juveniles and substance abuse. I was studying substance abuse. So I said, no, I'm not going to go back to New York. I went to stay with my sister in right outside D.C. in Maryland, PG County. And I got a house in Waldorf, and I brought my wife down from the Bronx and put her in that house. But my wife that I'm with now, I was with both of them at the same time. My wife I'm with now, I brought her from Peekskill. She lived in Peekskill. I brought her down, and we got an apartment in Richmond. So I left Maryland, and I went to Richmond. But while I was in Maryland, in D.C., I got involved with the Moors. But, being Zulu Nation, we was always studying with different groups anyway. And while I was in New York, as far back as the time I came home, we started studying with the Clock of Destiny Moors, in Harlem, in Brooklyn. And it was time that I went out to the Moorish Science Temple in Brooklyn. So that's really where my relationship with the Moorish Science Temple began before I left New York. But when I got to Maryland, I got more involved. I became a member of the Moorish Science Temple in D.C. Started building with brothers out there in D.C. And by the time I got to Richmond, I met a whole group of Moors out there and did a whole Moorish Science Temple in Richmond. And I was in Richmond for 3 years with them brothers. I left Richmond, I think 2006, and I went to Lynchburg, a little small hick town, west of Richmond, about 2 hours from Richmond. And I was there for 2 years. And I was comfortable because for the first time I got away from all the ruckus. I had a peace of mind in Lynchburg, and I got close with a lot of people in Lynchburg. But I was there for 2 years. My wife, she didn't like it. And actually, her family was from Lynchburg. Her mother and her uncles and aunts, they were all from Lynchburg. You know, she didn't like it. You know, my wife is one of the reasons I kept a relationship with the Nation of Islam. And my wife is an MGT. She's been in the
Mm.
nation since, I want to say, the early 90s. She was under Khalid Muhammad in Mosque number 7. And to this day, she's an MGT. She's in the mosque right here. You know, I always was affiliated with them, but was inactive. But I was registered in number 7 in
Were
82.
you were you
And
were you close with brother
go ahead.
Arthur Forex at the time?
Arthur Muhammad, absolutely. Arthur
Hmm.
was known as Kid Dust. So if
Right.
anybody's seen a lot of stuff that Bam did, Arthur was definitely one of them because Arthur traveled the world with Bam.
Mm.
So if
Mm.
anybody's seen anything, Arthur seen a lot of stuff. There's times that me and Lord Tafik went on tour with Bam in the States, Ohio, here in Charlotte, you know, Arizona, and he get me and Tafik a room, and he get a room for who and his little boy toys. That was his record record carriers, you know. He get a room with them. But we was close. We had a close relationship with the Nation of Islam. And Arthur Muhammad was known as Kid Dust because he smoked a lot of dust. There was a spot up in Mount Vernon called Cromwell's that was off the chain. He used to play there. And you know, me at that time I was all over Harlem, Bronx, Mount Vernon. So I went up there one night. He was playing, you know, but he eventually joined the mosque number 7 after me. When I registered, I didn't stay here too long because I was in between the Nation of Islam and the Ansar. I was more of a follower of Imam Isa, Dr. York. He had more appeal with me than Farrakhan. I had love for Farrakhan, but I was more of a follower of Dr. York to the point where Bam just said, you know, you Dr. York's son. He claimed I looked like him, but he used to, you know, and it's times that me and Bam, we used to go out there to the community, you know, and go in the studio with York, because Bam laid the track with him called Return to Planet Rock. York produced that with the Jungle Brothers.
Mm.
Didn't go nowhere, but
Mm.
they did it nonetheless. But we had a relationship with York up until the time, you know, things hit the fan. When things hit the fan, I was in Charlotte. I was here. I've been here probably about at least 15 years. And one of the last anniversaries before that went down, I think was 2016. It was a good
Hmm.
anniversary. I mean, a lot of people came out. I had missed TC, so I only went up there for one night. I went up there for Friday night. I think it was, you know, Saturday night. And when the party was over, I went straight down to Greyhound, jumped on the bus, and went home. TC was out there that Sunday night, so I had missed TC. You know, who I really wanted to see. But a lot of the old timers was there. You know, um, even after me and Bam had fell out, because while I was in Lynchburg, mind you, that I'm the one that got Bam and Lord Tafik and I can't remember his name, dark skinned brother that was always with Tafik doing the arts, um, into more science. We did a more science convention. I think it was 2006 at the Black Theater. Me
Yeah,
and the
that was around
Moors
that
from
time.
Virginia. You remember
Yeah, I
that?
think it was around that time. I remember. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So me and the Moors from Richmond came up. Hakeem Bey was there. I don't know if y'all remember Hakeem Bey. He was originally down with the
Hakeem
Nation
Bey.
of Islam. He used to sell the books. He used to sell the books outside the
Hmm.
mart on 125th Street. He became a Moor, but he was originally with the Nation of Islam. He became a Moor, and me and him became close because he was a well-known figure on the Moorish scene in the Moorish nation because he did a lot of lectures. And then after him, it was Tars Tariq in Nature Ill. And I don't know if y'all remember Tars Tariq, but that's where
Hmm.
Bam, Lord Tafiq, and other Zulus started studying under because they was in Jersey, right across the bridge. Trenton, um, I can't remember that other city, but they wasn't far, so it would be a lot of back and forth. Bam and them would go over there. They would come to the Harlem on Saturdays. Everybody be out on 25th Street building. Of course, Sarnetta eventually ended up down there, but that's how they got into the Moors. But when I was in Lynchburg, you know, me seeing Bam getting so powerful in the Moorish nation, I called up Hakeem and I told him, I said, this is 2000, around 2008. I told him, I said, Bam is gay. He said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I said, Bam is gay, you know? And he's running this Moorish nation. He's getting big in this Moorish nation, man. And that's not a good thing, you know? And he called up Bam and told him what he said, told him what I said. Bam called me and said, yo, Shariyf, what's up? Why you doing it like that? I said, because Bam, it needs to be known. I said, I watched you bring down one nation, Zulu nation, and I'm not going to watch you bring down another nation, the Moorish nation. And for a while, me and Bam didn't speak. But like I said, I always had love for Bam. Because Bam is the type of individual, I mean, he has a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality. You know? I mean, if you spend time with Bam and you got to know Bam, I don't know how many of y'all really got to know Bam, where, I could just walk into his house when he had the house in Connecticut, you know, or walk into his house in Parkchester, on the phone with him every day. That's the relation we had. We was brothers, you know. And when you have love for a person like that, a lot of times you not want to not try to hide their faults, but overlook their faults. You understand what I'm saying? And that's
Hmm.
what I did because I had love for him. I mean, I walked in the apartment in Parkchester, and him and Tafiq was laying on the floor, laying in his bedroom, jerking off to a video,
Oh
to
man,
an X-rated
astaghfirullah.
video. So
Man.
I said, I think they was trying me because they knew I was
Wow.
coming over. So I said, what the fuck are y'all doing? I said, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Oh,
It pissed me off, literally. And I said, Tafiq, you supposed to be a fucking Muslim? You know? I said, let me get the fuck out of here. And I bounced. I bounced. And when he came to the crib later, man, I said, yo, man, you need to get your shit together. You know? Because that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. But after I had told Hakeem Bey that, me having love for Bam, like I said, overlooking, we reconciled. And that 2016 anniversary was the first time I had seen Bam in years. It was the first time, and probably the last time that I seen him or Lord Tafik, because that was like a union for the three of us. Because that was the first time I had seen them since those earlier years. You know, and that was a good anniversary. I really believe that that was the last anniversary that we had. That was a Zulu Nation anniversary. I mean, Charlie Rock was there. Pepsi was there. So they brought out the birthday cake anniversary, which I had.
Mm-hmm.
Which, matter of fact, I got a picture with me, Bam, Pepsi
We we
with the birthday
we were
cake.
there. We were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, we were there.
And Charlie Rock was on. Charlie Rock got cut out the picture. He was on my side. He got cut out the picture. As a matter of fact, that was at that time. That's when he was going for dialysis. But he was there. He made it. And if y'all was there, y'all know that was a good anniversary. And I
Very
believe
good.
that was the last time that we had a good anniversary like that. Jake was there.
Y'all were cutting the cakes. There were like 3 cakes on the table.
Right. Mm-hmm. Jay was there. Brucey B was there. But Jay was out of it that night. I mean, he was in the back and like he looked like he was disturbed. I know he was a little tipsy. And I said, Jay, you all right? Because he was like, I mean, he was laying down crying or something. Like something happened. But it's so much stuff that went on within the Zulu Nation, within the organization, that I'm sure a lot of people have stories. A lot of people have stories. And then the following year, that's when Poppy and Ron Savage
Yep.
came out with their stories. First Ron Savage was banned, claimed he didn't even know him, B. Stinger.
Yeah.
And then Poppy gave credential to B. Stinger's story. Because Poppy came out with his own
Yeah.
story. He came out with his own allegations, you know. So, that was that
There,
was
there
that was
was
just
one
unfortunate,
person, right?
the way that it happened. When you have a leader that have that much power and respect, and then something like that comes out, and you actually have love for this brother, it's something that's really hard to accept. I mean, you can even call it to a point tragic
Mm-hmm.
because it destroyed it pretty much destroyed the Zulu Nation overnight
Mm-hmm.
to the point that it made a lot of people leave the Zulu Nation and y'all formed the Zulu Union, 25 chapters. Because that's how much love y'all have for the Zulu Nation. That's how embedded y'all was in the Zulu Nation. Having come up in the Zulu Nation and have experienced so much power, wisdom, and respect that, y'all felt the need to keep it going, to not let this leader's downfall, completely make the Zulu Nation disappear. So I definitely give y'all honor and credit for that, you know, because that
Thank
definitely,
you.
For sure.
kept things going in a positive direction, you know. So definitely much love and peace on that fact there, because
Thank
that
you.
wasn't no, I'm sure that wasn't no easy job, to get all the people that left to form the Zulu Union. That took work. I know that took work, you know, and for y'all to keeping it going, that's a good thing because Zulu Nation was on the verge of becoming it was one of the biggest organizations, not only in New York but around the world. Bam started chapters all over the world. When he traveled, he started chapters in Germany, England, Japan, Africa. So you had Zulu Nation all over. You had Zulu Nation all over the state, all the way out to California. You know, what did they call Africa Islams and Ice-T's crew on the West Coast?
Body,
Rhyme Syndicate.
Ram
body count.
Syndicate.
Rhyme
No,
Syndicate.
Rhyme Syndicate. Right.
Right. Body Count. That was the album that Ice-T did, but it was Rhyme Syndicate
Rhyme
That's the
Syndicate.
rock.
that
Right.
they did out there. When Africa Islam was out there, and Donald D from Lambert Housing Projects in the Bronx, West Farms, they was out there in the West Coast for a minute. You know,
Yeah.
and Mick Benzo thought he was the man because he was Ice-T's manager. You know, but Mickey wasn't on the West Coast like that. You know, he managed Ice-T, you know, affairs in New York because Ice-T was with one of the record labels in New York as well. So Ice-T was coming to New York doing shows and, you know, recording or whatever. And that's how, you know, Mick he took care of that. You know, and then eventually Aquarius Boys. Aquarius Boys was like a runoff from GF. Because GF did an anniversary every year. You know, Joe Kidd, Black, B.O., Sugar Ray, you know, Born Justice, Cisco. I'm trying to remember all the names of GF. Every year they did an anniversary. T-Mac, Showbiz, you know. And when B.O. passed, Sugar Ray turned it into Aquarius Boys. Mainly him, Mick Benzo, and LG. Those were the main three that did Aquarius Boys. And if you remember, when Bam used to be on, what was it, Hot 97 at night? On Saturdays, it was one of them stations.
Wednesday.
Mick Benzo was the host. Mick Benzo was the host. It was on Sirius XM. It was on Sirius XM. Bam he had a show on Sirius
Zulu
XM.
Radio. Zulu Radio.
Zulu Beats. Zulu Beats.
Zulu Beats.
Right.
Yeah.
Zulu Beats. It used to come on about 11, 12 o'clock on Fridays. And Mick was always there. LG was always there. I don't remember if Ahmed was there. Because at some point around that time, Bam and Ahmed fell out. Big time. But Mick Benzo was the host. He was the host for that show. And that show went on until Ron Savage thing. The Ron Savage thing came out, they dropped Bam. They dropped him, and I think Bam had a lawsuit with them for that. How it turned out, I don't know. But you see, recently, Bam was on Hot 97 with Funkmaster Flex for Labor Day, like a couple of months ago. Anybody remember that?
Like
Yeah, it was
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
no more than 2 months ago.
I think that was through Funkmaster Flex, because when they had that last cookout in Arthur Park, Bam was there, and that was the first time that anybody has seen Bam come out since that situation.
Yeah.
So Bam was at that Arthur Park, that last park jam with Grandmaster Caz and Flash and all the old timers was there. They adore and they all embrace Bam. You know, like nothing ever happened. you know,
Mm.
and that's when Bam ended up on that show with Funkmaster Flex, his show. You know, I wasn't surprised because if anybody paid attention, Aquarius Boys in the beginning of this year they started promoting Bam. Bam started doing shows again, you know, around the city, tri-state area, and that was the first time in a while because nobody was messing with him, you know. But Aquarius Boys, Mick played a big role. Him and LG in bringing Bam back out, you know. So that's why it is where it is today, where you know Bam is back on the scene and got away with a lot of stuff. That's factual, you know. Poppy did a lot of YouTube videos behind those situations. You know, I got a lot of love for Poppy, but you know, he messed up psychologically, you know, as a man behind that. And you know he's a Muslim, you know,
Man,
so
Allah
he's
guide him.
striving.
I mean,
So my prayers
I mean,
indeed, indeed. So my prayers is always with him, you know. But the past of the Zulu Nation, it needs to be documented. You know, I started a book. I got right here on this laptop. You know, where I can go into much more history than what I gave y'all. You know, being so many moves that we made and so many things that happened. You know, and all the family that was involved. Um, what's this brother that used to be do security with us? Tall, dark skin. I can't remember his name right
You,
now. His wife, his
Q.
wife,
You remember his son?
his wife is
Oh no,
Q is the one I was talking about earlier that be with Tafiq doing the arts. Q.
I figured that you
He
was
Oh
became a
yeah,
referencing
Moor.
him.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
I
yeah,
yeah.
figured
Yeah,
you was
the
Definitely,
Q.
referencing
That's what I
him.
was talking about.
definitely.
Mhm.
Q became a Moor, but other taller brother that used to do security with us, he did security with us when Bill was alive. I can't remember his name right now. It'll come to me. But we got a rich history and a long history that goes back to the Black Spades. So always remember that the Black Spades is the foundation
Yes,
of the
sir.
Zulu Nation. And that's why Bam takes it back to 73. And people go, oh, Zulu Nation wasn't around in 73. Zulu Nation came out in 76. You know, in 73, we were still Black Spades. 74, we were still Black Spades. But 74, Black Spades, First Division, Bronze Steel, started shutting down. The 10th Division, you know, was a big division that, as I was saying earlier, Outlaw that just passed. You ever familiar with Outlaw? Just passed this
Yeah,
year.
we heard the
I heard
name.
the name before.
Hmm.
Heard the name.
He was he was he was a well known spade. You know, he was with Gestapo. You know, Gestapo was a big crew. They had cast across the bridge on the 174th. That was down with them. Sonny Boy, which was a big stick up kid. You know, was down with them. Gestapo. His crew from 174th and Whole Avenue, right before you get to Boston Road, right there. But
Hey King, not to break your wisdom, I want to say that that book that you working on, I hope that you find the time to complete it. It's necessary. It's necessary for us. It's
For real.
it's it's it needs to come out. We need the info, we need the knowledge, the experience. There's a big thing going on in New York City where they're trying to erase the history of Zulu. They're trying to uh downplay the history of the Spades. They're making everything seem like New York didn't have gangs until the Bloods and the Crips came to New York right now. That's all the youngsters talk about. They're not tuned in or tapped in to the true history of the Spades, the Ghetto Brothers, the Savage Skulls, the Nomads, all of y'all beautiful stories that y'all experienced. Um, it needs to be documented. Your book, it needs to be books, movies, everything about y'all, and
It's a
I want to
fact.
give you the honor and the
That's
respect for all the wisdom and all the jewels that you dropped on us today. We want to bring you back, beloved. This
Yeah, I was just
platform
about
is
to
for
ask
you.
what you
You're
about
welcome to
to.
come anytime and speak and build with us. We really appreciate your time. But please make that book happen. And if there's anything that we could do to assist you, we're here for you, now and forever.
that's
And know one thing as well.
that's
Know one thing as well. As long as we are alive, we will be putting in the work to uplift the Zulu name and build it back up to what it once was and hopefully beyond. You know, we really love this family and we're gonna continue to strive and put in the work that's necessary to build it back up. And give you my word on that.
and that's needed, and that's needed, and I definitely honor y'all on the strength of
Hmm.
that. You know, who the individuals in New York that's trying to erase the history, I don't know, maybe y'all know, but as far as I'm concerned, you can never erase the history of, the foundation of the Zulu Nation and the 5%. Because the 5% played a big role in hip hop too. We may have had
Yes,
our
sir.
beefs with them, but a lot of my homeboys was 5%. I got much love for the 5% Nation. You know, um, they just as big as the Zulu Nation, but we was just more like an army, where a lot of brothers in the 5% Nation have one foot in the door and one foot on the other side, like myself when I became Muslim.
Right,
But Zulu Nation was always warriors. Zulu Nation was always
right,
warriors. You know, and when,
Um,
and when we did Shaka Zulu, that was more, that was like an elite squad. You know, what you was gonna say,
Peace,
brother?
brother. Yeah, peace. Speaking of Shaka Zulu, I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to ask someone who's been there from the genesis of it. It was under my attention that the brother Capadonna from Wu-Tang Clan, I was at a show a few months ago, and he mentioned Shaka Zulu in the middle of his performance. And I always wanted to know, were there Shaka Zulus that came from Staten Island or somewhere affiliated with Wu Tang?
Yeah, Brother Breeze, yeah, yeah. And his
from
old member
Stapleton.
Zen,
Hmm.
Then
yeah,
definitely,
King
yeah.
Zen.
Hmm.
I think Powell was from Staten Island too. So they know
From Brooklyn.
Hines, Michael Hines, God bless the dead. Malik,
Hmm.
Michael Hines, who caught that
Yeah,
Fed
Hmm.
yeah.
bid. He did 25. He was close when we was before I went up north. And he was down with Muhammad
Hmm.
and Saladin. Also Seville. I don't know if I remember Seville from Queens.
Mm-mm.
No.
You know,
I never heard the name.
Seville used to run with LL. Seville used to run with LL, but he was down with Muhammad and them too. Me and Seville was close, but they was all from Staten Island. But Seville was from Queens, but Yaya and them was from
Stapleton.
Staten
I'm
Island.
from Stapleton, House.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
the
he from
yeah.
presence of the
Stapleton
presence of the
houses.
Zulu Nation, right? And Wu Tang was from Stapleton as well, in other
Yeah.
parts of
Right.
Staten Island. But I went
The
out,
first
I
time,
went out to Staten Island a few times, with some of the brothers. But they almost went to war.
Hmm.
You know, they almost went to war. How it was stopped, I don't know, because I was locked up at the time. But it got ugly. It got ugly.
Hey
That's not the
King,
first time that
I don't wanna
go ahead.
break your wisdom, beloved, but the episode getting to a dangerous point where we could
Okay.
probably lose it if we don't end it. You know what I'm saying? But we would love to,
Well,
connect with
we
you,
don't do that.
another time, and we'll end this one so that way we don't lose the info, it don't go bad on us. But we were really grateful for your time, your energy, and your wisdom.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's a big, big history lesson. We were honored to be a part of it. We
It's a
thank you. We
lot
Yes,
to
give
unpack
thanks.
definitely.
too. It's a lot to
A
unpack.
lot, a
A
lot.
lot to unpack.
You know what I'm
Word.
saying?
That's
But,
peace. That's peace. And
inshallah, we're
good.
gonna have you back on.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Get the brothers my number, and let's keep in contact.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Definitely,
Yeah,
if you
Definitely.
definitely,
definitely,
definitely.
definitely.
We
anything,
on social
yeah.
media too.
Okay. Well, y'all got my Facebook, Lord
I
Sharif,
think I sent you a
Shamsuddin.
yeah,
Facebook.
I think I sent you a Shamsuddin, right?
Right. I sent you a request